Mr. Shyam Benegal, who heads the government-constituted panel on revamping the censor board. He's been waiting very patiently, which has been battling many controversies over hacking films and banning cuss words. Mr. Benegal spoke to us today on the show about recommendations made on the board of controversy. And I asked him this a little while back. I'll just repeat this question. Mr. Benegal, do you think the censor board has too much power? Do filmmakers in India have enough creative or aesthetic space?
Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but there were certain kinds of rules that were being applied. Now, the board of certification, film certification, sometimes in order to make it possible to fit into a particular category, would themselves decide to excise scenes from a film. That kind of thing, I think we felt is not the right sort of thing to do. Because, ultimately, the rights owner of a film, particularly...
Sir, let me ask you this, sir. Your report recommends categorization of movies instead of using scissors. That new categories must be made for classifying movies. But many filmmakers are asking, what are the chances that any of this will be implemented?
How would we know? We have given this report in good faith, and the government has accepted it in good faith. Let's see what happens.
Is the government doing any sort of damage control through you, trying to create some sort of a balancing act?
I don't see any reason why people should keep reading between the lines. I don't know what there is to read between the lines in this case.
Okay.
Because, quite frankly, I think it's a perfectly normal and routine exercise that the institution should do because, things change, life changes, society changes, and you have to constantly, to match yourself or your rules and your laws and whatever you create to the society in which you live. And that's a constantly changing phenomenon.
So earlier this year, a lot of high-profile directors and actors, Amir Khan, Vishal Bhardwaj, they'd met the Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting asking for Prahlad Nihalani's removal. Do you think Mr. Nihalani had overstepped his brief? Many accuse him of having a political agenda as well.
See, I don't wish to comment on that sort of thing, and there's no reason to give my 2 bits in all of this,
Sir, one final question to you. The Indian Censor Board has been at the center of so much controversy, so many jokes, for example, from the whole Sanskari bond controversy to banning curse words. But there are different rules, for example, for sex comedies. The board has double standards. That's the allegation. What are the parameters to decide what is decent and what is indecent?
It's precisely because of problems of this nature. Because there have always been so many ambiguities here, open to different kinds of interpretation. That is the reason why I think we decided to work on doing clear guidelines, reduce as much as possible, whatever ambiguities there might be, in the manner in which you're going to implement, your certification process.
All right, sir. Well, thank you so much, and let's hope that there are fundamental changes in how we assess some films as being acceptable and others as being not acceptable.